All right, today we're going to learn about multiplying and dividing mixed numbers. So your objective is to multiply and divide mixed numbers, and this is page 23. All right, well, I've written out the steps for you for each one, and they're very similar. So let's start with multiplying. So the first thing we're going to do is change to improper, and remember my little trick, Texas popcorn. So TX, 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10 thirds. And then I need to do the same thing to the second one. 8 times 2, 16, 17, 18, 19 eighths. Okay, so that was step 1. Next one, multiply straight across, just like you normally multiply fractions. So we have 10 thirds times 19 eighths, okay? And I'm gonna multiply that. Well, 3 times 8 is 24. So let me just figure out what this is. Well, I'm multiplying by 10, so I could move the decimal one spot. That'd be 190. Or write it out to the side. Okay, next step, change it back to a mixed number. And then step 4 is reduce if necessary. Now you can actually do step 3 and 4 in either order. I could reduce this first and then make it to a mixed number, or I can make it a mixed number and then reduce. It's really up to you and depends on if it's easy for you to see what you can reduce by. So maybe 190 is really big and you're like, I don't know what I could reduce by yet. Then you can divide first. Or maybe you're like, hey, they're both even, so I could at least get it smaller by dividing by 2, up to you. So I'm going to go ahead and just divide first. 190 divided by 24. Well, it does not go into 1 or to 19, so I need to think about what would be a reasonable guess of how many times it would go into 190. Now you could always list multiples of 24 also to help. Okay, well let's see, 24, 48, 72, so that's at least 3 times. I'm going to think, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7. So I can always try this off to the side. In fact, I'll use a different color. So let's say I think it might be 6 times. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 2 is 12, 13, 14. That's 144. That's not very close to 190, so it's probably going to fit in more. So let's try 7. 7 times 4 is 28. 7 times 2 is 14, 15, 16. That's 168. Okay, so let me think. That's still kind of far, but I don't know if 24 will fit in again. Like I said, you can try to do times 8, or you could even just say, okay, well, if I add another 24, what would that be? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 6, 7, 8, 9. That'd be 192. That's just over, so I know that's not necessary. Okay. So it's going to go in 7 times, and that's going to be 168. And now I subtract. 10 minus 8 is 2. 8 minus 6 is 2. Okay, so now I can do the V, 7 and 22 over 24. Okay, now if I look at 22 over 24, it might be a little easier to reduce in this case. So I think about it, well, I know that they're both divisible by 2. So I can divide by 2 over 2. Now remember, the 7 doesn't go away, so it's still the 7. Half of 22 is 11. Half of 24 is 12. And that is simplest form. So 7 and 11 twelfths. Okay, now on to division. If I want to divide mixed numbers, it's very similar to this. The first thing I'm going to do is still change to improper. Okay, so I'm going to make these improper fractions. Texas popcorn. 3 times 5 is 15, 16, 17 thirds. And then Texas popcorn. 6 times 3 is 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 over 6. Okay, now, next thing, all I really change between these two is added in this step, keep, change, flip. because I'm dividing, I have to do keep, change, flip to make it multiplying. Okay, so I have 17 thirds divided by 23 sixths. Now I'm going to do keep, change, flip. So I keep 17 thirds, I change this to multiply, and I flip the reciprocal, which would be 6 over 23. Okay, now multiply straight across. So I'm going to come over to the side to be careful. 17 times 6. 6 times 7 is 42. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that would be 102. And then 23 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 2 is 6 over 69. Okay, now I can change it back to a mixed number. Again, you could reduce first if you want, but I'm going to change it back to a mixed number because it's maybe not so obvious what I could reduce by yet. So I'm going to divide 102 divided by 69, which actually isn't too difficult to divide because I know it's only going to go in once, which is 69, and then I can reduce. So 12 minus 9 is 3, and then this was a 9 because I had to borrow, right? So 9 minus 6 is 3. So that's 33. So then I get 1 and 33 over 69. So now I need to check and see if I can reduce it. And I actually can. So 2, usually that one's obvious, but I can't use that here. So now let's try 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. That's divisible by 3. 6 plus 9 is 15. That's divisible by 3. So I know I can divide by 3. So the whole number is still the whole number. 33 divided by 3 is 11. And then 69 divided by 3, well, I had multiplied by 3 here, so I'd just go backwards, which would be 23. And now I can check really quick if I can reduce that any further, and I can't. So 1 and 11 over 23 is my answer. All right, go ahead and try the next one on your own. All right, now that you've tried the next one, let's go over it. Texas popcorn, 18, 19, 20 over 9 times 12, 13 fourths. Okay, now I multiply. 9 times 4 is 36, and I'll do 20 times 13 over here, 0, 6, placeholder, 0, 2, 260. Okay, now again, you can either reduce or divide, your choice which one you want to do first. In this case, I'll show you the other way just to clarify. So I know even if I don't know the greatest common factor, I know they're both even, so I could start by dividing by 2. Okay, 36 divided by 2 is 18, and 260 divided by 2 is 130. Well, guess what? They're still even, so I can still reduce this. All right, so 130 over 18. Let's try dividing by 2 again. Okay, well, I know half of 18. That's 9. All right, and half of 130, well, half of 100 is 50. Half of 30 is 15, so that should be 65. Okay, now they're not both even, so yay. Let's see if anything else will go in, and no, I can't think of anything else that I can reduce by. So now I can change it back to a mixed number since it's improper. So for some of you, especially if division is a little tricky, you might not want to divide with such large numbers. You could reduce like this first. Up to you which one works best for you. So that doesn't go in, and now I can think of my multiples of 9. So 9, 18, 27, 36. 45, 54, I'm gonna have 63. And remember that's times 7. And I subtract, I get 2. And then I can do the V, 7 and 2 ninths, 7 and 2 ninths. All right, and now one more division practice. Go ahead and do that one on your own first. All right, now that you have tried it on your own, I start by doing Texas popcorn, make them improper. 4 times 5 is 20, 21 fourths, divided by 2, 3 halves. Now make sure you don't accidentally think that you've already done KCF and make this into multiply. All I have to do in the first step is just make them improper. Now I need to do KCF. So keep, change, flip, that's 21 fourths times 2/3. And now I multiply. 21 times 2 is 42. 4 times 3 is 12. Okay? Now, again, you can either divide first or reduce first. This one might be easier to reduce first. Okay? So if I look at this, I know that I can divide this. Well, I know I can divide it by 2, but I think if you think about your multiples, there's a better choice. 4 plus 2 is 6, 1 plus 2 is 3. I could divide by 3 also, but if 2 works and 3 works, what else works? 6. So 6 would be the best choice here. All right, 42 divided by 6 is 7. And 12 divided by 6 is 2. So I'm left with 7 halves. So now I just need to make it into a mixed number. Okay. So 7, divide that by 2. That goes in 3 times, which is 6. And I make the V. That would be 3 and 1 half. Okay. So now you have examples of both changing to a mixed number and reducing, or reducing and then changing to a mixed number. Either way, like I said, keep practicing and we'll see you next time.